EFT, I believe, is a empowerment technique. So, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so it is it's a tool. So like any tool, physical or energetic, or how you use it, the hands, whose hands is that tool in, right? So I have heard stories of people going to other EFT practitioners and they didn't get um, as much out of it as they did with me, maybe because of the way I use it. So the tool itself is fantastic. To me, it's the best tool for releasing things, but
Yeah.
you also have to find the things that need to be released, make those connections, right? And that's where I use my intuitive guidance. So I don't just work on the things people are presenting. I dig deep, and when people say to me, well, I'm not sure what's at the root of this, I say, well, that's my job. It's my job to ask the right questions, to feel that out, and to get to the core issues of whatever's going on today so that we can collapse that, release it. And I do believe that at the core, we are energy, we are souls, we are universe, whatever you want to call it. And I think that that core is very empowered and abundant and peaceful, and things are easy. And to get back to that root, we have to release all of the human drama and struggle that we have experienced and believed to be necessary or true, right? We are a society that makes struggle very important, and we value struggle. I can tell you, sorry, I went away from explaining EFT. I'll go back to that. But when as an example, as a mom, when I was having a problem getting pregnant, because it took a few years before my first pregnancy, and I lost the first two pregnancies, and I would get I worked in a place where there was a lot of people, and there were always pregnant women around, and I would get really angry, because they were um I have no idea if they struggled or not to get that pregnancy. I just saw the pregnancy in my face when I was struggling. And then when somebody was pregnant or having a baby that I knew they had struggled, somehow it was better, because we do tend to, and there's a lot of messaging in the world that you can only find success through your struggles. And you can find success through your struggles. You can learn, but you don't need the struggle in order to get the success, right? Because that's another form of limiting us. It can't be easy. But if you believe it can't be easy and it has to be difficult, no matter how you've learned that, it still doesn't have to be true, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. But the
yeah.
thing is, moms most of the time, they want to be their super mom. They want to do everything to make everyone happy,
Yeah.
to make sure everything is organized. They don't even know they are angry, stressed out. They feel they can handle this. They feel they can manage the stress.
Yeah.
So how do you help them really understand that it's time,
Well,
to
again,
answer?
it's always about whatever somebody is dealing with. It's about getting to the bottom of it, or what are the fears? Is the fear, well, I'll be a bad mom. The fear is my child will not succeed, or my child this, or we have all of these fears, and we can release those fears with the EFT tapping. I use it on myself all the time. I use it with my child too. He actually really likes when I tap on him in the evening when it's bedtime. He will sometimes ask me to do it. We don't talk, we don't say anything. I just do the tapping, and it chills him out, and it brings him peace. Or if he's upset or sad about something, we can acknowledge that feeling and talk about it, and then release it, right? It's not about pretending that we don't have feelings and we don't feel bad, and I'm not trying to erase that out of him, but I also don't want him necessarily carrying that pain in him, because I see adults in my practice who have stuff like that, from childhood. And so it's important for me to use those tools to help him know that he doesn't have to be the victim of his feelings or feel bad inside and pretend that he's not feeling bad, on the outside. So we acknowledge the pain. So it's the same thing with mothers. I understand being in that space where you're just trying to survive. And I say that to women who I work with who are new moms. And when I was a new mom, I was told the same thing. The first 6 months, you're just kind of treading water, right? And I only have one. I can't even imagine 5 children. If you are having children every couple of years, when are you pulling your head out of the water, right? Like, you're always for a long time, and we lose ourselves and we change. And I think all of those things are important to acknowledge, that they happen. And sometimes we're not properly surrounded. And so we're going through those changes ourselves, and other people may not understand. And so it can be a very isolating experience. And like you say, we put pressure on ourselves to be great parents and to not be judged by others. And so there's a lot in there that can be uh, released and healed and unpacked, all of those fears and pain. And one of the reasons I always say it's really important to heal our stuff, because we want to be able to show up in life, in business, as parents, in our, with our families and our friends. We want to show up in a whole healthy way, because we have all experienced people who are not whole and healthy and feel like crap about themselves. When you feel like crap about yourself, you're going to crap on other people, right? Hurt
Absolutely.
people, hurt others. And I don't necessarily do it consciously, but it is a dynamic that happens. And so, it's the old saying that, the mother has to take care of herself. Or, like, what is that thing in the plane where you put your mask on first so that you can help other people? You have to help yourself first in order to be able to support and help others from that whole and healthy place. Otherwise, what happens is you just project your crap on everybody around you, including our children. Our children energetically pick up our stuff, our issues, and they, at this underlying energetic unconscious level, they try to help their family. They love us, right? And when they come into our family system, they say, how can I help? And sometimes that means we take on our parents' dynamics and our parents' stuff, or from previous generations. So it's really, really important to heal you so that you don't burden your children with your crap.
Absolutely. I
And
get your point. I totally get your point. I want us to be very, very specific. Let's say, just as an example, I come to you today.
yeah,
So I feel nervous. I feel disconnected. I don't even understand you know, who I am. So I feel like I'm losing my identity. You know, besides all the effort I've done, I feel stuck.
yeah.
So what step do you go through if I meet you? What will you advise me? What are, even if the EFT you talk about tapping, where do
Yeah.
I tap? you know,
Okay, so
because
I'll tell you about EFT, and then I'll answer your question, because it is a conversation that we would have. When people have specific events in their life, then we can go to those events. But when somebody comes to me like you, and it happens where they just don't feel right, they feel stuck, but they don't know how to address it. That's where I said it's up to me to ask the right questions to find. So, what is your pain? What is the even the feeling stuck is a feeling, and we can tap on that to release that stuck feeling. And as we start opening that up and removing the layers, other layers appear, and now we have more information, the fears that you're going through. So it's not a set questionnaire. It's not, I don't have a set process. It really depends on what you bring and what you want to work on. And then I will ask the questions to dig and find the things that we need to help to release. But so, for example, if you were feeling stuck, or the sense of self is a whole other thing that I can tell you about. But let's say you feel stuck. And we just started with I feel stuck, right? So the
Yes.
basic recipe, as it's called in EFT, so EFT is emotional freedom techniques. It's also known as tapping because we do tapping. So the basic recipe is that you would tap on the side of your hand and you repeat like a kind of affirmation. You say, even though I, whatever, feel blocked, feel stuck, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we say that 3 times. That's the basic recipe. So whether you have a headache or you feel sad, whatever it is, we do, even though I blah, blah, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And in the world of energy, I would call that shadow, like healing your shadows. Because what you're doing is you're acknowledging that you have these negative, you know, I don't want to make it wrong, but they feel negative. They don't feel good, right? So we're acknowledging that we have these feelings. And when you acknowledge that you have that feeling inside, you're basically shining the flashlight. And when you shine the light in the dark, what happens? It lights up and it does not so dark anymore. So, and often when I start working with people, sometimes people have a hard time saying, I deeply and completely love and accept myself because they don't. And that brings on a whole layer that needs to be healed. And so it's a really good thing, you know, even if people don't believe it, to say it as we're doing the tapping, it shifts that pain too. So we do that 3 times, even though I feel stuck, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then I'll add my own things, but that's the basic. And then you tap. So the first tapping point is on top of the head, and it's just a light tapping, right? And then the eyebrow, the side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, the chin, and the collarbone. And that's it. And so when we're doing the tapping, you might say, I feel stuck, 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 I feel stuck. It's a very simple process, but again, you have to be specific with what you're working on. So if you're sad about something, you might start tapping on sadness and then it's like, well, I still feel sad. Oh, it doesn't work. But it's because there can be many, many layers, many reasons for the sadness. And you have to go and address each one of them. So when I'm working with people, you know, if you say, well, I'm feeling sad about this, and then we'll do the tapping and the releasing, and then I'll say, so how do you feel? Is there still sadness? Well, there might still be sadness, but now it's about a different aspect, right? Or now you don't feel sad, but now you feel angry. There's anger. So then we heal the anger. So we really go at it, you know, piece by piece in order to resolve the issue.
Wow, that's really fascinating, the EFT thing. But how quickly does it work for people?
I mean, it works instantly. When you release things, it releases instantly. Can you heal your whole life in an instant? No.
True, true.
That's why I used to offer single sessions, and now for a few years now, I've been doing these packages that are 5 weeks and 5 sessions. So we meet once a week, and there is a potency to that commitment and that regularity that works really, really well. I find people commit to that. And it's back to back. 1 week seems perfect. It's enough time for people to integrate whatever's happened. But then it's not so long in between that we forget. And because I really want to also not just empower people from the inside out, but also support you in using the tools yourself, because I use them every day. And it's important to be, we can be our own healer. Like that's part of being empowered, is you don't have to go to somebody every time. Like I have a very good friend who's also an energy healer, and we help each other all the time. So just because I've been doing this for 18 years doesn't mean I also don't need help sometimes, you know.
Okay.
The more
So
used
it's a
to it, the
long,
more
it's a long process. It's a lifetime journey that you need to.
It's a lifetime journey. I'll tell you why. There are things that you will heal. This is my experience, is that when, especially with EFT, when we are working on memories, once we release them, they're gone. So you either, if we release all the aspects of that memory, it will either the memory dissipates, or you can tune into the memory without all of the charge, the emotional charge to it. It becomes just, it's like just watching a movie. Okay, that is very real. I have, worked on very serious traumatic experience, like a kidnapping in the Middle East, rape, abuse. I have worked with people on very traumatic events, and we've been able, and we can, again, by going slowly and piece by piece, but often in one session we can pull apart and heal and release a traumatic memory.
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3 times in my life it's taken 2 sessions, and the kidnapping in the Middle East was one of those, because she was a child, and it was like it wasn't just one thing. There was a series of things that happened with that, and that took 2 sessions to sort of heal all of it.